Heather McPherson, and if you are watching my channel, you'll probably see that I've got a bit of a diverse range of videos. Not that there's many. So I sort of share a little bit of like comical humour around mental health, being that I have dual perspective, lived experience in mental health, parenthood things, and also I have always been told for a long time that I have psychic and mediumship abilities and that I really need to develop them. And I feel that over the last few years in particular, I've really been on a growth and development journey, I guess, both spiritually and emotionally, mentally. We are coming into the physically, I guess. So I'm sort of learning a little bit more about tarot. So I do actually have two traditional tarot decks, an astrology deck, oracle cards, and like a positive manifestation deck of cards. So the most two recent ones I've got have been really fun to actually work with and learn, and I've really been enjoying my journey so far with the tarot. So yeah, basically what I'm going to do today is that today is the 10th of February, which means we are in a new moon, and in my tarot guidebook it sort of talks about manifesting around the moon cycles. So I'm actually going to give this one a go. I am probably going to just put in more snippets of this just because I'm still learning how it all kind of operates. Yeah, so let's see how we go with that. So the deck that I've got is actually called the Modern Tarot Reader, and this one's fabulous because it actually kind of gives you a really good snapshot of the major and minor arcana, the different suits, and just different types of spreads. So today is like a moon cycle one, so I'm going to have a bit of an explorer of that, and I'll let you know how I go. I usually, because I'm still kind of figuring out exactly what each card represents, I'm still kind of just memorizing them. I do have my notebook because I do have this ability sort of, I guess, psychically and sort of through mediumship, and I'm slowly developing that. I have actually found that I have been able to sort of utilize a skill that I don't know if it gets talked about often in terms of developing your natural gifts, but it's called automatic writing, and essentially that is where you allow the higher energies to actually translate a message through writing. So you would essentially kind of go, you know, you can use my hand and the pen and the paper here to translate a message or to help me decipher this. Usually when I take notes, I'm kind of like in, I wouldn't say a trance, but I just kind of not quite zone out, but it's enough that I'm sort of aware that I'm writing, but not really aware of what I'm actually writing. So I know that that's been helpful with some of my other readings that I've done for myself in terms of memorizing cards and being able to connect everything, because after the reading I can kind of go back to my notes when I'm sort of more grounded and refreshed, and I can kind of flick back to them and go, oh, okay, yeah, I can see how this would connect here or that would connect there. So this is just my way of learning. I find that I'm a visual learner, but I'm also somebody that likes to be able to physically take notes or physically write something down because I feel that it sticks better in my brain. But yeah, so this is something new and exciting, so let's give it a go. Okay, so I just sort of got my notebook prepped and ready to go. So with the moon cycle spread, essentially what it is like a single daily card pull, and you do that throughout the cycle of the moon, essentially. So it's designed, I guess, to sort of help you with manifesting what it is that you want and then working towards it, essentially, is what I've taken from this guidebook. So today, obviously being the 10th of February 24, it is the beginning of a new moon cycle. So essentially what I need today to do today is kind of work through what it is that I want to start working on and developing and how I can kind of get there. Yeah, so let's just give it a go and see how we go. If I fuck it up, I fuck it up. Okay. Thank you, angels, spirit guides, spirit team, loved ones, and any and all positive energy that I have around with me this evening. Today I am going to begin by my first moon cycle spread. It is the beginning of a new moon phase, and I'm going to start by shuffling the cards, and we're going to pull one card. Whoops, okay, one really wanted to come out then. I have found there are just certain days where I'll just get them and they just literally fly out. So I have Death. Now for those that are unfamiliar with tarot, Death always comes across as like a really like, oh my god, sort of thing. But what I find really interesting about this is Death actually can symbolize the ending of an old cycle and the beginning of a new one. And the ironic thing is we are in a new moon, which is the beginning of a new cycle. So I guess by pulling this card, it really is highlighting the fact that we are at the beginning of a moon cycle, and I really need to think about exactly what it is that I want to begin with, and I know exactly what it is in my head. So it'll be interesting to see tomorrow when I do the next one. Yeah, well, provided that is exactly how it works, because I'm finding that it's not as clear as potentially I'd hoped for. But what I read from it was that you pull a card over each stage of the moon cycle, which is about 28 plus days. So I'm assuming that, yeah, keeping an eye on the moon itself and then kind of just drawing a card on each of those days, I'm guessing is what it is. For all my fellow tarot readers that are experienced, please jump on and let me know. Yeah, it's interesting, and I just find it ironic that it's the Death card that just came flying out of the deck. Like I shuffled it 1.5 times. And it does hold a lot of significance to me because I really am in the beginning of a new cycle. Yeah, it's quite interesting actually. I have found that this deck of tarot cards has really made me think about a lot of things, and a lot of things with each card that I've pulled up, depending on what kind of spread I'm doing, whether it's a single card or a 3 card or even the Celtic Cross. A lot of what I've got over the previous weeks that I've journaled as well, at the time when reading it and then upon reflection, a lot of it's just like hitting home and making sense. I know some people will say, oh, I prefer not to do my own readings because there's a biased view, but I don't feel that when I do my own. I feel that because I'm in a position where I'm open for learning and I'm going, I need to actually understand what this card symbolizes, and if it comes up and it resonates with me, it's there for a reason. If it comes up and it doesn't really resonate, it might just be that it's just part of the card. There might be an area in that I need to be paying attention to or not. I don't know, but I have found that with the readings that I've done for myself, following a reading that I had done with a professional tarot reader who, a lot of what my reading was very similar to what she had actually explained in mine, but I was able to pick up on different things that I could almost articulate quicker because I've given myself time to really sit there and study, and as I'm going through each thing going, okay, and then usually it'll pop in. But yeah, it's interesting that I've got the Death card actually, and that we're at the beginning of a new moon cycle. So I am actually a Cancer as well, so for the psychics, mediums and the tarot readers, I'm ruled by the moon. So it's really, yeah, there's just lots of things going on in my head, and I'm sort of trying to articulate everything that I'm sort of thinking and feeling. So I'm going to try and just start jotting that down, just because I know in 10 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever, it's just going to be like, whoa, what the fuck just happened there? Yeah, so yeah, isn't it a pretty card though? Honestly, it's beautiful. I really love the artwork on this tarot deck. It's just gorgeous. Yeah, I'll pop back and I'll let you know what I've got with my notes. Okay, so as you can see, my writing tends to go really funky when I kind of just get I feel the energy kind of wanting to move the pen. So there was a couple of things that I found really interesting, and I didn't actually pay enough attention to the numerology number of the death card, but it's actually 13, right? Now, here's something that it's kind of just hit me like a ton of bricks, but 13, weirdly, might be a very unlucky number for some, but for me, I've always found incredible luck with the number 13, like whatever that might be. You know, when I got my driver's license, I got it on the 13th, right? I've actually, weirdly, and this is kind of where I'm going with this, kind of what I'm wanting to do. I'm in between jobs right now, so I've recently spent 2 years studying, and I'm now kind of moving into that industry, and I've got a job interview, and guess what? It's on Tuesday. Do you know what date that is? The 13th. Now, this particular job is something that I have lived experience in, and something that I really have. This job gives me an opportunity. It's sort of like a traineeship, essentially, and it gives me the opportunity to study a little bit more in this role, in this area that I've got life or lived experience in. And I know that having a lived experience of something and then, you know, knowledge gained through education, putting the two of them together is kind of like a powerhouse, and it kind of becomes a bit of a superpower. So that's sort of one thing that just popped out to me when I sort of like looked at the card as I was taking notes and went, oh my God, that's number 13. That's really interesting, because I have a job interview on the 13th for a job that I'm really hopeful that I can get. And I know when I asked the cards last week after my phone screening for this job, before I got asked to come back for an interview, the spread that I got was basically telling me that I need to stop overthinking, and that you know, the final card I got as my, I guess, outcome for this situation was the moon, and it was basically saying, we're only going to show you little bits and pieces. You've got a lot going on behind the scenes. You don't need to know all the answers. And I think for someone like me, I am a bit of an overthinker, but it's not so much in a way of an unhealthy way of overthinking. It's more overthinking in a way of learning and growth, right? So I just found it really funny that, you know, that particular spread that I got was basically going, you need to trust us, we've got your back, and there's a lot going on behind the scenes. You need to stop worrying about it. We know you want to learn, and we know that you want to really harness a lot of these abilities that you've got, but we also need you to kind of go, hey, it's like if you're a kid and, you know, you try to find presents or something like before Christmas, or like whatever it is, like it's like peeking at something before you're actually supposed to get the answer. And then I think turning this card over, getting the number 13 on it, the 13th of this month has a significant meaning for me. But, you know, even when I booked in the interview, I was like, and she said, you know, the 13th, and I was like, oh my God, unlucky for some, but it's always been a really lucky number for me. So I'm kind of taking that as it is, that it's like, well, that's where I need to put my energy and my focus. And, you know, some of the things I got here, you know, being a water element in this card, Cancer is a water star sign, right? There's just a lot of things there that are kind of coming together for me a little bit. And sometimes I think this is what I'm excited about with this moon spread, is that by doing it following the moon cycle, I think it's going to help me develop a little bit more patience in taking what information resonates through the card, thinking about it a little bit more over time in case something else kind of pops up, because I have found that with readings that I've participated in, is that sometimes you can't quite take it all in. You're able to take some stuff in because some of it's just so bang on and there's no way you could deny that. But then there's other things that it might even be like a couple of days, couple of hours, couple of weeks, even maybe a couple of months later, sometimes something will pop up and it'll just remind you of that, and you'll go, oh my God, yeah, actually no, that fits in now. I can see how this works. So yeah, but the other thing, and it's interesting because I've seen a photo that I absolutely love, and it talks about light and dark, and this death card is the same sort of thing. It's yes, whilst we like being in the light, you have to explore your own dark side, because that is where your power, your strength, your resilience, even a little bit of rebellion in terms of learning and growth, that's where you'll find you'll truly have a really strong appreciation and understanding for yourself and for others, because you're able to enjoy the light element from there, you know, in the light. So yeah, it's really fascinating. I've had a lot of things over the last few weeks that are just slowly sinking in. Yeah, so I thought that was a pretty good start actually. So I've got it recorded here, and then, you know, in the next moon phase, which I think is the waning crescent moon. I actually have no idea if I'm saying it right. Waxing crescent moon. So I'll definitely, yeah, finish this and keep you posted. Thanks for joining me.